What a result at Old Trafford. Manchester United thrashing the Bundesliga leaders Leipzig by 5-0. Marcus Rashford with a hat-trick. Greenwood and Martial getting the other 2 goals. Jan and Stevie join us. We'll go to them in a moment. But Craig, what a performance this was from United.
Well, actually, I would be slightly different on that. I would say what an absolutely superb result rather than a superb performance, if that makes sense. Because I think the difference in the two sides were, Leipzig were lightweight up front and United were able to bring on the heavy hitters. And I mean by that, obviously Cavani, Fernandes, Rashford come on off the bench and look so sharp. By that time, Leipzig were chasing the game. So, for long periods in the game, it's how United have approached these matches against good sides. They've sat in, they've tried to get a good shape, and they've hit on the counter-attack. And they certainly did that in the second half. So it wasn't a swashbuckling performance. The scoreline would suggest it was. In my opinion, it wasn't. But it was an absolutely superb result because they were so clinical in that final third when they got in the penalty box.
Jan, you are more than happy to tell everyone on Twitter that your boy has coached a team now who beat PSG last week and then Leipzig this.
I think that is the fact of sport, but I agree with Craig. The fact of sport is they beat PSG away and now Leipzig at home. He beats the wonder kid, Julian Nagelsmann, 33 years of age, tactical genius, apparently, but they beat him 5-0. But we heavily criticized Manchester United in the first half. I don't think they played good in the first half. And obviously, Ole Gunnar saw the same thing. Not only did he swap the players, getting the big guns in that he wanted to rest, but also they made the pressure a bit higher on the field. They took the ball more. In the first half, they just let him roll the ball. And you can't do that. You can't do that at home being Manchester United. But what they did in the second half has to be said. A big compliment to Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That last 45 minutes was one of the best performances I've seen them for a long, long time.
Stevie, was Danny Higginbottom right? Is Ollie the man for the job?
Well, I would suggest it was even less than 45 minutes in the second half. Maybe try 25, 30. When was the first substitution? Because up until then, Leipzig had outplayed them. No question. De Gea's made 2 good saves that could easily have been goals. And then, of course, the changes completely transformed the game. So it's a strange one. They got outplayed and they won 5-0 for long stretches of the game. So basically, what we saw tonight just tells us that going forward with the likes of Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, they can be absolutely devastating. But in the middle of the park, we still don't know what we're going to get every time they step on the field.
I think that's a good point, Dan, that they are a very powerful side in the final third with the options that they've got. You add Cavani into that, who, is probably not going to play. Well, he's definitely not going to play every game because of his age. But he's probably the best finisher, arguably, that they've got, certainly the most experienced. But they are going to give themselves, or try and give themselves a base, either with a back 4 or a back 3. They're going to try and solidify the midfield against the better teams, both domestically and in Europe. And then they're going to rely on the pace, the power, and the talent that they have up front. And when you see young Greenwood as well, who we know how two-footed he is, we know he's quick, we know he's got a trick, we know he's had a troublesome time of late with 1 or 2 decisions, certainly that he made in international duty. But whenever that young lad is going to pull the trigger, I always feel he's going to hit the target more often than not. And that's a great attribute to have. And then when you throw in the other players that I mentioned, then you've always got a chance. But, Stevie's right. They're rarely going to outplay the better teams in the middle of the park. And so they have to get their defensive structure right. And then they have to hope that their forward players, who are good, very good, have a good evening. And that's what they've got. And that culminated in a bit of a mauling for Leipzig, who were all over the place at the end. And they've been in good form. Is it 4 wins and a draw in the last 5 games? And yet, as that second half went on and on and on, they were so dishevelled, it was frightening. And also, they, without Timo Werner, certainly, they look so lightweight up front in terms of with the possession they had. They did not create enough chances.
How much credit should Solskjaer get, Craig?
Well, listen, results take the pressure off. And, when you rest players and you still get big results, then you get a pat on the back. So I don't know what Danny said, but I've got a fair idea regarding Solskjaer. But it's a long season, and at the moment, he's on a bit of a high. You know, they started the league poorly, looked awful. Then they picked up a little bit with that good win at Newcastle, had a very good evening in Paris, and have had a very good evening again in terms of the results. So they're positioning themselves well, but it's a long old season, and, you know, it'll all come out in the shake-up. I don't believe they'll be in the title race, and let's see how far they go in the Champions League. But the way they play, the way they set up in the bigger games, they're almost ideal for the cup competitions because they sit in and they hit in the counter-attack. So the European competitions might be something to look out for Man United this season, but they won't win the Champions League.
I think, boys, you started with your conclusion now, and then you work yourself backwards. What you do when you put up a team, it's not all about the team with the 5 substitutions now. It's not all about the team you're starting with. It's also with the team you're ending with. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saw with Manchester United is that around the centre half, they had trouble with the centre half, and they had to build up the sitting players. If that's been Fred or McTominay, I don't care, but he needs to build up around the centre half, and he has done that. And I'm not going to defend a Norwegian coach. I've been sitting in the studio now just beforehand, criticizing him for the first half, and people get ballistic on me of Norwegian TV. I think first half was terrible. Not terrible, but it was not good at all. But that you saying when you're winning 5-0, and you can talk about the results, but a great coach like Klopp or Guardiola, when they win 5-0, you don't start with that, analyze that just only a result. That was a great win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was a great win for Manchester United. What I did in second half, that was brilliant, playing forward. And playing forward is also a part of being a football team.
Well, hold on, Jan. I would say the same thing had that been Jurgen Klopp or any other
for half
manager.
an hour.
Because,
No, for half an hour. The game lasted 80 minutes. So he's a genius for keeping everybody sat in the backside for an hour when against anything else they might have been 2 or 3 down.
Who said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a genius? I'm just saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tonight and Manchester United tonight beat RB Leipzig 5-0. They are leading the Bundesliga. In the first game of the Champions League, they won away at PSG, winning 2-1. They were in the Champions League final a couple of months ago. That is fact in sport. Then you can start with your 22 minutes or your 27 minutes. That is fact. That is football. That was 5-0. And I agree, Craig. I know you would have said exactly the same about Jurgen Klopp, but tonight they were winning 5-0.
No, and I don't disagree, and under no circumstances taking Man United apart here, because that was a superb result, as it was in Paris. I'm merely painting the picture, or trying to paint the picture of how the result came about, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying that, you know, once again they were outpossessed, but they've got the result. I mean, it wasn't as big a gap in terms of possession. If you looked at the Barcelona and Juventus game when it was 60-40, it wasn't like that. But what I'm saying is, when United play against the better teams, and they did it to Man City with great success last season, at least twice, maybe 3 times, I can't remember, City absolutely swarmed all over them, dominated them, outplayed them, but didn't take the chances, and then United hit them with pace over the top. So it's not a one-off. I'm just saying that's the way they're trying. This is not a swashbuckling Man United side. This is a Man United side, Jan, that when they play the better teams, and in all fairness to Solskjaer, he's realised that, and you're right, they cannot go out and take teams like Leipzig, teams like Bayern Munich, teams like PSG, teams like Man City and Liverpool. They can't go head-to-head and get the result. So they have to do it a different way. It's not the Man United way that we've known over the years, but it's the way that's got them the better results in the bigger games. And so far, it's working.
Just a word on Marcus Rashford, and if you've been following this story during the lockdown in the UK, he led a campaign to make sure that those who would normally get free school meals got them. It's a week off in England, there's no school. He once again drove this campaign. The government voted against it. However, restaurants now have come together and are handing out free school meals to kids who otherwise would go hungry during this holiday. The reason I bring this up, because you do that and then you score a hat-trick, Craig, at Old Trafford in your day job. What a 22-year-old this kid is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think when you look at somebody, you can you can sort of paint a picture and what an amazing young man he is. The grounding that he must have been brought up as a youngster is crystal clear. He clearly has his feet on the ground. You can really criticise him for on-field tactics. He wants to help people away from football. He wants to use his notoriety, his fame, his fortune as a young man to help others. And on top of that, he's a bloody great footballer as well. So there's not a lot wrong for that young man at the moment. And you cannot be anything else but pleased when you see somebody utilise their talents the way he has. But, most of us when we were his age were not even thinking about stuff like that. We were off doing what 22-year-olds do, right or wrong, but we were just trying to live the high life. But he's doing things that most of us wouldn't even have dreamt of. And on top of that, he's doing great stuff on the field as well. So I can't speak highly enough of him. I just wish there was more like him out there rather than some of these Charlie Big Potatoes that go around earning fortunes and not doing a lot.
Jan?
Yeah, I 100% agree with Craig. And just to strengthen that, it's also the fact that you do this, you get all the attention from different parts of media. You are doing a lot of work, physical work for these people. Still, you manage to concentrate. To go out there doing a hat-trick in the Champions League. Not only a great person, but also a great striker. And the way he took the goals today was marvelous. And in an interview just after the game, he said, yes, I saw the linesman holding his flag up, but I knew I was onside. So, I mean, this is a new generation of people thinking of VAR, and great striker. And I just feel it's so good for him because it's so easy to criticize him. If the team is doing bad, he should concentrate more on the stuff he's doing on the pitch instead of off the pitch. He is managing both things, and I'm proud to be a part of a big football family over generations, that sometimes in our football life, these kind of role models grow up around us. A 22-year-old, I mean, what a role model, what a man. And England must be so proud of this man. Certainly I am, and I'm a Norwegian.
Great.
Do you think just briefly, Dan, that Marcus Rashford has any talents in TV backdrops? because if he has, he could nip over to Norway and sort out Jan's.
Well, maybe. And what's his makeup skills like as well? Because Jan, you've got a lot of makeup on. How bright are those lights in Norway?
I was offered after the show to take it off, but I said, no, keep me on like Keeping Up with Kardashians. I'm ready to sit with Steve and Craig and Dan, so I would love to have so much makeup on. And thank you for that crop behind me, Craig. I can borrow yours. Are you sitting somewhere in a cabin in Canada?
I wish there was. I'm in my basement. I've not been out of here for about 2 months. Good grief.
Hey, at least you haven't got Stevie's slanting backwards scene. That is it. We are done. Thank you very much, guys. Just take a look at how things stand then in the group. Manchester United top with that away win against PSG, coupled now with that impressive victory at Old Trafford.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.